I know it's been a little minute, but I had to take me a little break from off this Instagram and social media. But we back at it. And I got to come through with a banger real quick. Got to come through with a banger. We got the homies from Drought Season in the building. We got the homie Swirv pulling up right now. Let me see if I can go ahead and get you up in here. Accept. And we about to be, let me see. So I accepted it. We got Branden up in the building. What's going on, Branden?
What's happening? What's happening?
One half of the Drought Season. The brothers from Drought Season. We got one half in the building. Let me see if I can go ahead and add Swirv to here. I see we got Chris in the building. What's going on, Chris? We got Shelly in the building. Uh, go live with Swirv. We got Scott P in the building. What's going on? What up? What up? What up? Good to see y'all up in the building. What y'all sipping on over there, by the way?
What am I on? I'm on this hop growers collab that Russian River did. I grabbed this when I was in Cali. It's them and Crosby hops. So some
Nice.
tribute series IPA situation. It's pretty good.
We
Pretty
got
good.
Deep in the building. What's going on, Deep? What's up, Deep? That's a local brewer in the area in Tallahassee. They make some phenomenal beers, by the way. We got Crazy Stout Ladies up in the building. We got Ralph in the building. What's going on, Ralph? And we got the homie Swirv in the building. What's going on, sir? What you sipping
What
on
up?
over
What
there?
up? What up? That beer, you know what I'm saying, starts with us. So I'm trying to enjoy it before I let it sit away for a minute.
Have you been realizing the taste difference as it warm up?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Those of you who had the pleasure of having Monday night stouts, I think there's some stellar stouts. I think they make some of the best stouts in the nation. And one thing that I love about their stouts is they give you that true stout complexity of warming up and giving you more flavor profile as it warms up. So I
Okay,
think ours is spot on with that. They've hinted about possibly submitting it, for a couple medals. So we feel like we came out with a banger.
Absolutely.
nice. Well, normally I'll do like a introduction to the drought season and all that, but I guess it'd be a nice segue since we already talking about the beer. Uh, we go ahead and start with that. So beer starts with us. Uh, can you talk about that campaign real quick and the like the makings of making the beer, as far as like were y'all intentional with the ingredients, were y'all intentional with the style, all that kind of good stuff.
For sure. I mean, we're intentional about everything we do. You know that. But yeah, I mean, I Swerve can get into the beer, but as far as like the beer starts with us situation, we worked with Atlanta influences everything, which is a big factor here in the city and really across the world for explaining to from expanding this Atlanta culture, this black culture here. So yeah, those are our guys, man. Ian, Tori, and Bame. So we wanted to do something a little different. We're concentrating a lot more on doing capsule collections that involve, clothing and things of that nature that don't necessarily have to involve a beer. So, but this one does, and the beer came out amazing. But yeah, we just wanted to do something cool for the people, man. Bring back that energy that a lot of us have been missing as far as event spaces and things of that nature, and then just do a really dope, clothing capsule. And I think everything came out well.
Definitely.
So what I know you say you wanted to try something different. So what made y'all be like, okay, we want to do a stop this collab. For this collab, we want to do a stop. Out of
I
all
mean,
the
we
beer styles, stop was it.
so I
We
know I unequivocally speak for my brother on this one. Um, Over everything we love stouts. Stouts is what got us into the game. You know what I mean? That's what even got us into the point of wanting to get into this space. Big aficionados for stouts. We've only done two, but this one was the first one we've had bottled, and we were really excited about that. So we're, like you said, we're always intentional But whatever beer we want to do, we always want to make sure that it's a beer that honestly the brewery can deliver and do well. And that's not saying anything against the brewery. Some breweries just do other styles better than other um
But yeah,
breweries. And Monday night, we knew they were going to come with a stellar stout. And then just to kind of get into how the beer part of it came together, um, Peter Kiley, who's one of the owners there, an ally, a good friend of ours, brought us over and presented us 3 barrels of beer that he had aging in old Fitzgerald barrels. Now, if you're in, to whiskeys and bourbons and your things, that's not an easy thing to get, are old Fitzgerald barrels. So he had these beers sitting in there for about 3 years, and we just sipped on each one because with barrel aging, you're going to get a little different complexity in each one. We chose the one that we felt was the best. It was actually the booziest one, we're being honest. And then
ain't
from
nothing wrong with that.
there, there ain't nothing wrong with that. And then from there, we started adding the adjuncts to it. So from the adjuncts, we added um I'm gonna get it right, the Ugandan vanilla and the Ghana cow nibs and the toasted macadamia nuts. Now, what that did is that took a lot of the heat that you get a lot of times from barrel aged beers. Sometimes you get those fumes the same way you would get from a bourbon or a whiskey. It cut that all the way down. And then it cut that down so much that it was an easy sipper and still coming in at 13.5. So as far as like, the gravity and everything like that, it's definitely a silent assassin. With That's a ninja for real, a dark ninja. It'll sneak up on you from that perspective. So when we tasted it, we were very surprised we didn't have the fumes, very happy with the flavor. The toasted macadamia nuts give a nice balance to the whole flavor profile. So we're happy with it. And for us, we're going to give you 2 beers. We're going to give you beer that tastes like beer, beer that doesn't taste like beer. We're going to give you what entry point you're looking for. And I feel like this is actually a little bit in the middle of that because it doesn't
Hmm.
really have that strong beer flavor, but you're drinking beer. So those who like coffee, those who like um, chocolate, things like that, this is going to be right up your alley. You know what I mean? It's listed as a pastry stout, but most people that had it, and I can tell you, it's not going to give you that strong sweetness that a pastry
Yeah.
stout would give you. It's got sweetness, but it's balanced sweetness. So
Yeah.
we're very happy with it. I mean, if I tasted this beer and they said, "Oh yeah, man, that won the silver," and this or that, I'm like, "Yeah, it tastes like that." So I'm very happy with it.
See, we got Cloud of Chris up in the shout out to everybody that's up in the building first and foremost. It's a lot of
Cheers.
people up in the
Cheers,
building. So
everybody in the building.
I want to be like, oh, shout out this person, but everybody, I see Cloud of Chris in the building. For the Amp fam, Amp was the move. But and I'm glad you really went over the adjuncts that were added to bring down that heat because I was literally going to ask you about that one once you mentioned like it was barrel age and stuff and a lot of breweries they kind of they missed the ball on that one. Like it's barrel aged, and you sip on it, and it's like, ooh, I could tell that this was aged in some whiskey barrels for sure, or I could tell that this was aged in some bourbon barrels because that heat carries over.
And
Yeah.
that's, I
Yeah,
would
yeah, for sure.
think that's probably because, not a lot of breweries can afford to sit on something for a super long time. So
There
if
you
you're
go.
only able to age it for 6 months or something like that, that may be why you taste that super
Yeah,
booziness on it.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And then some people want that. I mean, some people like the fumes. I mean, I personally like a balance. I like whatever it is, I like it to be balanced. So I feel that we did a good job with that, but you definitely you know, definitely aren't getting the fumes like you normally would with this. And I feel like it did a great job of balancing it out.
Absolutely. And Bitches and Brews say, "What's up, Mackenzie?" Another great way to smooth out the alcohol burn is to let it bottle age and let it reach prime like a fine wine.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Hmm.
that's just to Brandon's point. Absolutely agree with that. But we got to think about, like, we got a lot of breweries closing. A lot of times the brewing and the art part of it, I'm all into that. But from a revenue and getting beer sold perspective, you got to get that stuff out. You got to get things, consumers to it. And sometimes you just don't have that luxury with some breweries. And I'm saying that if you got a good brewing process, you're dialed in, you have things set aside to let those beers get the proper barreling, the proper aging. But I do understand that sometimes working for a brewery, working with the Lantucky, we're trying to get volume and lifts the glasses, so try and get it out as soon as
Absolutely.
possible.
And speaking of, I guess I'll go ahead and finish this. So I was sipping on this little pregame beer that I was sipping on,
What you sipping
but I
on?
figured, well, that one don't count. Boom. What I'm
My
opening up right
man
here is
said,
this right here.
hold on, that's
Oh,
a
the
oldie but goodie
old
right
school
there. How long you
pontoon.
been sipping
Okay.
on that?
I'm
You've
sipping,
been sitting on that
we
for
in
a
the A
minute.
with it. We in the A with it. So I gotta, bring it out, real quick. So this is the Super Sour Summer Jam from Pontoon
Shout
Brewing
out,
in
first of
collaboration
all,
with
shout out
Chris.
to my people, Craft Beer Chris. Go ahead and give it up for my people's Craft Beer Chris. She's been a long time supporter, been down with us since day one. And that's
Yeah.
for her, because, I've been drinking a little bit too. Summer, but Super Summer Sour Series. Super Summer
Super Summer
Sour Series.
Sour Series.
There you go. Say that. Yeah,
But
yeah. Super Sour Summer
she
Series. Say
has
that five
a
times
Super
fast.
Sour Summer Series in July, I believe it is. But this is
Okay.
what, Super Sour Summer
Oh, no, that's
Jam.
throwback. That's a throwback. That's a
Yeah.
throwback right there. And anything Chris got her hand on is going to be worth pulling up and worth drinking. You know what I mean? As far as a connoisseur, she knows her game. She has a great palate. You know what I mean? She knows what she's talking about in the space. So, and then Pontoon makes very palatable sours. If you like something a little bit more tart, you like something a little sweet, like a Berlin Wise, something like that, Pontoon's gonna be right up your alley. You know what I mean? For me, if you know me, um, there's one thing I don't like about sours is that they taste sour. So I don't really do sours too tough. It's not really my thing. You might catch me getting something tart here and there. I'll find one that I really like, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan of sours. But that's the beautiful thing about craft beer is that you can find something you like and not even have to
Something for
touch in certain
everybody.
spaces. Yeah.
And I guess while we're at it, this is the fruit sour with pineapples,
Hmm.
tamarind, lemongrass, and lime. And it's coming in at 4% ABV.
But yeah,
So
that's a summer sipper. That's a
Yep.
crushable
it's
summer
summer
sipper
sipper for
right
sure.
there.
hmm And, it's a little ABV, but like I said, it's meant for the summertime. It's meant to
You
Right.
drink a
man, I
few of
remember when I
these.
first came in, I wanted the highest gravity possible. You know what I mean? Like, where are the 16s? Where are the 17s? Man, if I can find me a nice little beer with a 4+3, 4, something like that, give it to me all day, man. Something sessionable. But there
Right.
was a point in time where I wanted all the gravity. Now I'll just end with that.
See, do I can do like a sessionable beer, but I'm not buying a table beer though. Like
Oh well.
I'm not buying table beer.
Mm.
Sorry. Brown Girls Brew. So I mean, okay, so we talked about the beer and everything. Give a quick introduction of drop season. As far
Oh
as like,
shit.
let us know about yourselves. How did you two meet? And as
We
far as
went
like,
over that the first
I
time,
Well,
man.
man,
We can get into the
I
real.
already,
what you got
I
new
already,
you got new you want us to run it back?
we got new people. I already know, but listen, okay,
So
well, speaking of the first time, I want to give y'all my flowers. Well, give you all your flowers. Uh, y'all were the first people that I actually did a live stream with for
oh
Happy Hour
word.
Wednesday.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I didn't know that.
like
That's dope. I
That's
didn't know
dope.
I
that.
That's
started,
super dope.
I was like, so I had Happy Hour Wednesday going on where I would like shout out accounts that I was, vibing with on Instagram and social media and whatnot. And we were at Mikey B's bottle share,
Mm-hmm.
and Swirv was
Yeah.
like, "We want to be on your live stream," and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." Guess what? In my head, I'm like,
You played it
I'm
off
like,
well. You was like, yeah, let's do it. You was like, yeah,
yeah,
let's do it. So,
I can't, can't turn back, can't turn back. I was like, whatever I'm doing is making moves or whatnot, so let's run it. And I
Yeah.
had to,
that's crazy.
get prepared that next week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for
But
Yeah.
3 years straight, I was online every Wednesday after that.
hey,
So
consistency is key, man.
Yeah,
It
man.
shout
is.
out to y'all
Yeah,
boys.
man.
But
For
yeah, but
sure.
all jokes aside, basically, man, drought season, we are a lifestyle brand. for people who are into craft beer. That is our number one agenda. We make clothing, beer apron, socks, the whole nine for so you can represent your love of craft beer. And also we like to help out the black owned breweries, woman owned breweries across the country and across the world, helping them get the shine that they deserve that they don't often get as much as the mainstream brewers. So that's kind of like the B story. So what we do. So that's who we are in a nutshell. Culture and craft beer.
All day.
All day. And speaking of culture and craft beer, tell us a little bit about the Beer is Black History campaign y'all got going on. And y'all been
Oh
running
Yeah,
man.
that for a good
I
4
wouldn't even
years.
say it's the campaign. Like we started off just doing it in the month of February, doing Black History Month 4 years ago. And we were like, this is talking to our good friends, Sean, who designed the logo, the homie Craig Stroud, who was like super behind the scenes, helping us out a lot. They were like, man, this doesn't have to be just a one-off thing. Like you guys can really activate around this year round. And that's kind of how it's happened because beer is legitimately Black history. 3900 BC, Mesopotamia, Black Sumerian women created the first known recipe for beer. So we are just spreading that knowledge with what we do in a cool way. So thankfully, we've gotten a partner with a bunch of breweries on this thing. We've done, clothing around it. We, for the second year in a row, we'll be having a Beers Black History beer at the Golden One Center in Sacramento at the Sacramento Kings home games for the rest of the season, most likely. So it's growing, man. It's no one's bigger than the program, man, and that's the program at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
A little,
And I'm glad you
little bit of the
mentioned
can
that.
action for you.
So how was how was like the I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all was like super excited, super ecstatic about uh the beer being in the arena for real. But like, did y'all like really sit back and like dwell on it? Like, yo, not dwell, but like think about it. Like, yo, we have a beer that we are a part of that's being sold at an arena for a basketball game. Like you because we can affiliate beer with sports.
I just
But to
want
drink your
to say
own beer,
I just want to say real quick, we officially are in the building because if New Face isn't there, it didn't happen.
There it
So
goes.
New
Sold
Face is in
out.
there. So
There
now
you
this is
go.
officially at
yeah,
6:50 p.m. We was on the air, and now we really on the air. If New Face is there, then it actually happened. Shout out to
cheers
my
to that.
brother New Face, Detroit, CAU all day. But nah, man, it's honestly like my joint is different. Like Swirv would tell you, bro. Like I'm like my brain is in 2027, 2028. I think it's cool, but I want to be in every arena. You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's
Yeah,
great. I think it's cool. I'm super thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful this is successful, but I want to be in every NBA arena, period,
Yeah.
across
It
the
help.
board.
You know
I
what
don't
though?
see why that wouldn't be the case.
Right, but you know what it does, Kenny? It does help us build proof of concept. You know what I mean? It helps us show that we're able to uh have something that can stand, in stadiums, people that something that people want. And I think that that's the most important thing for me. Like so you're right. You know, what I mean, we probably should smell flowers a little bit more. Brandon's a little bit more further out than I am, but I'm always looking at something like, okay, now how do we scale this up? How do we take what we just did and how can we expand on it, make it bigger? How do we build the nuances in it that are things that can be scaled as opposed to something that can't? And then we have to, look at a different way to grow. So that's how I'm looking at everything. And I think that the fact that what excites me about it is not so much that we did it, the fact that we can do it 2 years in a row, the fact that they wanted us to
Yeah.
come back. You know what I mean? Because they could just say, okay, here's one, but the fact that it sold well enough or was it it resonated enough or was remarkable enough that they wanted to bring it back to me says a lot. And that's what really excites me. And now we can take that and go to other arenas, possibly Atlanta, possibly other places and say, hey, look, this is what we've done in other arenas. This is the response we've gotten and this is what we would like to do here. And then, once you get that, you can start dialing in a little bit more. You can make a beer more nuanced to the crowd, more something that they have their hand in more. So That's a lot of where
Absolutely.
anything we do, I'm always looking at it from that perspective. How can we take this and grow this and take it further?
Because it's like even with breweries, it's they most of them started off with the homebrew system. A
Yeah.
little 5 gallon batch here and there, whatever. Then it's like, okay, we made this beer. How can we scale it up? And you gotta start with something in order to scale up, in order
Well, I
to
think you
know
hit a
what you're
big
doing.
point right there, Kenny, is that when you're home brewing, sometimes you want to do the most fanciest flavored up beer you possibly can do and want to add all types of adjuncts. And that's great. And you could probably make something that tastes great. But when you're talking scale, ingredients, some of those ingredients you just can't scale.
Mhm.
So if I was to give advice to any home brewers or anything like that, have fun, but make traditional styles, master a lager, master a pilsner, master something that's traditional, and then start adding your adjuncts. And I think home brewers are starting to go the opposite route of come with all these different pizzazz and all these great things, and they're great, but how can you scale that up on a 5, 10, 15, 20 barrel system if you're really trying to get to that point, or taking it from a home brew, what I'm saying, to even a 1 barrel system. So that's one thing I would definitely put out there for those that are home brewing is learn how to make the traditional styles well and then add to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure, like, with all the collabs that y'all have done, you all take that into consideration. It's like, yeah, I want to have the most adjunct beer, or, I want to have all these, super fresh ingredients or whatnot. But it's like, I also have to work on y'all scale too, like we had to make this a profitable thing. So that's something that's overlooked, but something that needs to be, uh, taken into consideration for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So,
But
but
like we
which
said, we're giving you two lanes. We're giving you beer that tastes like beer. Beer doesn't taste like beer. Because those who don't, a lot of our people who don't drink beer, we want to give you an entry point. A lot of times, your first entry point to beer was Budweiser, Corona, Old English,
Facts.
something from that perspective that's very, you either like it or you don't. And then now, with all the flavors that come into beer, there's more flavor profiles in beer than any other alcohol beverage. So we always try to just make it simple. You don't like beer? What's your favorite alcohol? We can find a beer to bring you into this space, or find a beer that's something that you like. If you like milkshakes, there's beer that tastes like milkshakes. So anything
Yeah.
that you like, there's a beer that's going to come close to that flavor.
then they have like milkshake IPAs and all that kind of stuff.
Hey man,
But I
one
tell
of the
people,
best milkshake IPAs I had Monday night again was it was a milkshake IPA. It was phenomenal. I wish they would bring it back. I forget what they call it, but it was just a short run. But yeah, you can have a real good milkshake IPA. But again, that's the thing too. Some of our people don't really do lactose. So again, I mean, it's just really, how the different spaces you can get. Because you don't have to get, that to get those flavors.
Right.
But again, that just speaks to all the different flavors and ways that you can get to a beer that's going to give you that flavor.
and kind of going back off of, you said if new face ain't in the building, it didn't happen. So we got new face in the building. How do you think? Well, I'm pretty sure you already know, but how has the Atlanta influence, growing up in Atlanta, being in Atlanta and whatnot, how has that influenced how y'all uh like approach making these beers and with the collaborations
Well,
that y'all have been a part of?
neither one of us are from Atlanta. I'm from Oakland, California.
I'm from
Swirv is from Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania. So, we live here. We've embraced the city, as many have, as the city's embraced us.
Right.
So I feel like, there's a really dope beer scene here. And I think from my perspective, how it's impacted how we work on collabs is that there was not always a dope beer scene here. Because of laws, like things have changed tremendously. When I was in college here, you couldn't even buy beer on a Sunday. And then after that, you couldn't get anything above 5%. So I think it's helped us. I can just speak for myself, not take it for granted. Like literally, I remember when the beer scene here was terrible. And being from California, there's always been a craft beer scene, as long as there have been craft beer. So I never really took it for granted here because I remember when it was horrible. So, we go into the collabs like really trying to bring people something fire. Like Swirv said, beer drinkers, aficionados, we always want to bring them something fire, but at least 50% of the people at any event we do are entry point consumers and aren't really in the beer. They just there because
Mhm.
it's the cool thing to be at. So we got to bring them something too that they love and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything you said. I mean, Atlanta, I mean, no pun intended, because we just did a collab with our brothers, but Atlanta influences everything. I mean, anything you do, Atlanta has some stake or take on it. And I can say that from someone who's in transplant here, who Atlanta, what I mean, in the 10 years I've been here, I've grown up as an adult, you know what I mean, in my business practice and, just how the culture is of really just being able to get your hustle on if you have a good idea and it be supported. And that's what we try to share.
Uh,
Oh,
I'm breaking
yeah, we
up.
hear you now.
Okay. So
yeah.
so um I really feel like if you get the community together like you can here in Atlanta, we try to bring that to other places. You know what I mean? To show them if you can get a community, people around what you're doing, you can always have events, you know what I mean? And it builds. Like a lot of people in our craft beer space in our community here, there's people
And
that
I know that
didn't even
that's
like
one
beer at
thing
one
that.
time.
Oh,
Go ahead, Ken.
oh, nah, I was both of them was spinning. I was like, I was wondering if it was mine, but I would say I for the short time I did have in Atlanta and in Georgia, I would agree with you on that one. My craft beer uh, journey has been a wonderful journey for sure. And I believe Atlanta, it just hit different. When I was up in Georgia, the craft beer scene just hit different. Like it was a new brewery opening up every other month, new styles of beer coming out. Uh, between Party of Two doing his thing, with y'all two doing y'all thing, uh, uh, craft beer Chris doing her thing, but the rest of the girls, like are women queens. It was it was just always something to do. Um, it was always something to do. Always meeting up with people. Always trying different stuff. And a few other scenes that I've been at, I just didn't get the same results. And it's like, oh, so it's only these breweries. All right, well, I guess I make my ways around, make my way around town. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and you keep going back to the same stuff. And I mean, here where I'm at now, Tallahassee, um, the beer scene is great. The beer scene is great. I would say that. Not knocking them. Like I say, I know Deep is in here, so they make some phenomenal beers. And they try to do like stuff to, like new stuff to keep everything fresh. Keep new beers out there and everything. But it's just, I don't know. The ATL scene was a little different in a good
No, we're
way, very good way.
fortunate. We're fortunate. I even say Georgia
Absolutely.
beer. I would even expand it outside of Atlanta. I would say Georgia beer. I think Georgia beer has some of the best beer in the nation. I think that there's great breweries. I mean, these breweries that we don't even think about. Creature Comforts, you know what I mean? It stepped up into the space and now a location out in California. Monday Night has grown in different states. Three taverns, just breweries that that on Wild Heaven. Wild Heaven. I'm biased because they make my favorite beer, Ode to Mercy. So I'm always biased to Wild Heaven. But there's great breweries here in Georgia all throughout the state that I think when you come to, and I think to your point, Kenny, it's not so much all the breweries, it's the community around it. And I think you have a true beer community here in Atlanta, in Georgia. You have people that you have people that aren't even brewers that come and they just have the chops. I mean, Beery Godmother, somebody that comes to mind, who's not a brewer but is instrumental in the space as far as the knowledge that she's growing, how she brings, how she's grown in the space. My sisters, Chanel and Jim Price with Crafted for Action.
Yeah.
Jim Price is phenomenal in the space. All the things that she's done, she's been a trailblazer, and now having the Crafted for Action conference is happening. the week of Juneteenth, and you can follow us on Crafted for Action on IG and get your tickets now. Shameless plug, but that's the space. And then what we're doing, you know, what I mean, I think that me and my brother to step back. I mean, we're opening opportunities for breweries. We just did a tap takeover yesterday, gave some breweries some opportunities, some black-owned breweries some opportunities to get their beer in locations in front of lifted glasses. So I think here in Georgia, we just have a real community around the beer and not just a whole bunch of brewers that just like to get around and drink beer, which is nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I think we have a richer community because of that.
For sure.
Absolutely. And speaking of the event that y'all had last night, the Tap Takeover, you can feel free to give a few shout outs to which black owned breweries y'all had on tap.
Right. So we had Atlantucky, my home brewery. Shout out to my brother Skinny and Scales, Boogie Ian, the whole team, everyone there. Then we had Conzo. Conzo had some beer on tap. Conzo being one of the few black-owned breweries here in Georgia. They've been a trailblazer in the space. They make great beer, so they had their beer on tap. And then our brother Clarence and Hip and Hops had two of his beers on tap, So we really felt good that we were able to have some diversity and get these breweries that have some beer to, available for people to drink. So that's something that, that's one of the things I think Branden, him and I've kind of stumbled upon. That wasn't our original mission, was to shine light like we are, give these opportunities. And that's actually been able to be an easy play for us because we're not a brewery. We're able to be very nimble. People think that we're a brewery, but we're not. You know what I mean? We're a lifestyle brand. So we're pushing the pushing the line always on getting our culture in there and also open up those opportunities for those who possibly wouldn't have them.
I feel you on that 100%. And speaking of Hip and House, we got Sweets in the building. What's going on, Sweets?
Yo.
Sweets
My boy
up in the
Sweets,
building.
where you been, Sweets? That's the homie,
Sweets
man.
cool though. Sweets
Super
cool. My
cool.
first time
Oh
meeting
man,
Sweets,
sweet
they were like, oh,
man. We sweets we sweets and Brandon, we had brewed some beer for real. Like
Yeah.
sometimes those of you who have made beers will know. Sometimes you just go and look at the kitchen and you can say, okay, you drop the hops in there. All right, cool, get out the way. And sometimes you're in there milling grain, pulling out spent grain, transferring, do cleaning, and that's something that we were able to do with our brothers at Hip and Hop. So we always gonna have a special place for Clarence and Sweets over there in Hip and Hops because
Absolutely.
when we first got in the game, they gave us opportunity to just do a lot of collabs and just always been good as far as like working with us on the business perspective. So
For sure.
um, they're always gonna get love from me. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I think Brad and I feel very strongly about is those that ally with us, those real partners that we really show that. And when we say that, we don't mean every black brewery. Let's just keep it honest, because all kinfolk ain't kinfolk. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So we really try to make sure that it's people that are going to really resonate with our values and that we can grow with. And we've been very intentional with that. So any collab we've done, know that we've done that research on like from that part of it. People may have their opinions on other parts of it, but as far as business, pushing the culture, we've always been on top of that.
mhm. And what's going on, Junior? What's up? What's up? What's up? Live, I see you in the building. So speaking
Yeah.
of pushing the envelope and uh, pushing the envelope, keeping the community and everything. I know you're part of the GA Brewers Guild, uh, and I wanted to ask about. Oh snap! What's up, Mel? What's going on? What up, Mel? I wanted to ask about like the trajectory of where do you see
Hmm.
craft beer going? Because as spoken about before earlier, when I was up there, there's a lot of breweries opening up left and right. It was, super thriving. And then now, all around, no matter where you go, you see a downside. So,
Hmm.
um, do you think that this downside that we're experiencing now all over within the craft beer industry, do you think that there is a hope and small chance, whether it's a small chance or big chance, of black owned breweries taking advantage of that?
Oh, you asked that question perfectly. 'Cause I got numbers to go with that. So, to your point, this is the first time that more breweries closed than open in the space nationwide. With that being said, if you're, comparison, black owned breweries are still thriving and growing as that's happening. So I feel there's a lot of hope. Those numbers give me a lot of hope that we are still, finding success in an industry that's having a tumultuous time. You know what I mean? You're going to have that. You got to think about it got so saturated that now it has to level out. So some of those things have to change because at one point just owning a brewery was cool. I just want to go to a brewery, so I'll go to this very industrial place and do all these things because I want to go to a brewery. Now breweries are a dime a dozen. So what's the attraction other than the beer? Is it food? Is it great location? Is it great staff? What is it that's going to keep people coming, from that perspective? And that's one thing that I think just culturally we bring, so black owned breweries, we're thinking events, we're thinking of the look, we're thinking of all the different things other than just what's in the glass, because that's the things that bring people to your space. The aficionados, the brewers, the cicerones, all those people, yeah, those cosigns are very important. But those aren't the people, your customers. Those aren't the people that are going to come on your Wednesdays, your Tuesdays, and drink your beer.
Yeah.
So you got to have something else that you bring to the table. And fortunately, being on the a board member on the Georgia Craft Brewers Guild, I'm able to kind of see how those trends and help move some things. We just introduced our new bill. We're trying to get that self distro going here. We don't have that here. Not to get on the soapbox with that, but we got 3-tier system here. We can't just distribute our own beer, so we're trying to shake that law up to find a middle ground that everybody can be happy with. Finding a level of self distro within a certain um, distance that we can all be okay with, and then those distributors don't feel like we're encroaching on their space. And then it gets to a point where you build proof of concept, and now when you get with a distributor, it makes sense. So those are some of the things behind the scenes we're trying to work on, of really trying to change some laws, because it's a holistic approach in anything. It's fun drinking the beer, but what are all the things that make it available for you to have it as accessible as you want? So we're working hard on that. If you're here locally, please support, you know what I mean? Come have a conversation, talk to your local legislators, legislators, talk to your local representatives, let them know that, this is something that we're really trying to push through.
So would you go out on the limb and say that self distro in the state of Georgia would be one of the biggest issues you see a lot of breweries going through?
I mean, that's a big issue with any brewery. I mean, think about it from this perspective. Um, I'll give you a simple example that I like to give. Girl Scouts. When Girl Scouts, everybody loves Girl Scout cookies, right? When Girl Scouts want to sell their cookies, they just pull up in front of your grocery store and they just get to selling. Nobody
Yeah.
stops them. They don't have to check in with Auntie Anne's. They ain't got to check in with Miss Debbie. They ain't got to give it to Miss Debbie to distribute. They can go there and sell their cookies, build their proof of concept, and that's how they learn business. And that's how, from a perspective of, straight to consumer. That's the same thing with, you got to build that proof of concept. You shouldn't have to check in with all these people to sell something that you already have, that you've already, especially if you already created. Those are things that they're buying. We're creating the beer, and you're telling us this thing that we created, we can't sell it. And then if you take that example off, just to build proof of concept, I know from an investment perspective, if I want to put money into something, I want to know that it has shown some level of success. So this gives an opportunity for breweries to build proof of concept. So when distributors come in, you're getting with a business that's already shown and built something for you. You're not just getting with them a brewery that they may have good beer, but do the people like it, or do they have a brand that people want to invest in? So, those are just a couple points to say that, it's very important in any state. We're just one of the 13, I think 13 states that still have a 3-tier system.
Hmm.
So,
Right.
but surrounding states, all our surrounding states in Georgia have some sort of self distro. So we're just trying to just, get close to how our neighbors are, get, make sure we can get to a point. Again, it's going to be Senate Bill 122, not to get on my soapbox, but that's what we're trying to push, Senate Bill 122. So talk to your legislators, talk to your congressmen, talk to anybody, state representatives, so we can get people behind this bill and get more of this great beer to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Scotty said
And I
he's
mean,
selling
thank
fish out the trunk.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think of it from a super simplistic perspective. Like, how often do you see breweries from out of state setting up shop in Georgia versus the other way around? You know what I mean? It's pretty much just the big dogs, like the brew dogs, New Realm that come set up shop here. But it's there's a reason for that. So if you're trying to bring in new businesses, thriving businesses into your city, you got to make it friendly from a business perspective, from a tax perspective, from all of that,
Hmm.
permits, the whole nine.
Everything.
And I know one thing I've seen people do is they would like they have their brewery and then they would have someone that they know or just an investor, whomever it may be, start up their own distribution company and they work solely with each other.
For
So they,
sure, but that's super old school. Like, why would you even have to do that? Like, you know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
that's like,
No,
all right,
I think you
Yeah.
like
we want
why
to.
you got
It's
to do
like
it.
you got to think about it. That's like say that you're Kenny, you want to make an album, and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna make the beats, and Swerve is like, cool, I'm gonna back it and do the marketing in 2025, and our next thing is, oh, let's go find a label to put it out. It's 2025. Like, what would be the purpose of that? There's streaming, there's direct to consumer. Like, why in the world will we need, oh, well, we have to create a distribution company to put out? No, that's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally
Good
doing
point.
business from a model that was 15, 20 years ago.
Hmm.
It makes no sense. Like,
Yeah.
it literally, it's not only small business not being able to thrive, it's also the state losing money.
Mm. I 100% feel you now. I was just trying to find a little gray area, but it's like it's like if I'm making
Listen.
it directly, why do I have to
I'll
go
tell
through
you
all
what
these
the
loopholes?
argument is. The argument is that they're regulating the sale of alcohol, and that's what they need to be here. That's where they're coming from, is that we need to balance it and regulate it. But it's kind of to me, it doesn't make sense. It's like, how are you regulating something you're selling? You know what I mean? That's like, hey, I'm a cocaine dealer, but I'm gonna make sure you got the top quality cocaine. You know what I'm saying? So don't get it with that cut. You know what I mean? Like, you still dealing cocaine. You know what I mean? You still in the game.
Yeah.
So that's not a that argument doesn't buy, I don't buy into that argument, but that's a lot of where it comes from. It's just like anything, man. You got old money. These people, they've been doing it since the beginning, since it
Yep.
started, since prohibition era, and those families have continued to have their stake on it, and that's a lot of it as well. You know what I mean? Is that part of it? You know what I mean? I've even heard it referred to as part of Georgia's heritage. The three-tier system is part of our heritage. You know what I mean? Like
You
that,
know what that means.
and that's what I'm saying. And when you start using that type of language, that's a whole different. We're not even talking business. You know what I mean? We're not even talking that. So that's what we're up against here. But I'm hopeful, and I really feel that we can find a sweet spot where we can all be happy, and it can give breweries that opportunity. I mean, like I said, long as I'm here, and long as I'm part of Georgia Beer, I'm going to be fighting for that on whatever level that is. Fortunately, now I'm a voted member of the guild, so I represent, Georgia beer for all the breweries, and I'm trying to do that the best way possible.
Absolutely, and cheers to that.
Yeah,
Cheers to
cheers to
that
that.
because like, and I'm pretty sure you already know the position that you're holding or whatnot, the position that you're in. But that's big. Like we already said, we black up in the beer industry, and it's one thing to be like, oh, I don't even see that many black people in the brewery. Here we have a black person, black male, that's on the board of directors.
And let me honest. Black people did not vote me in because there's not that many of us there. You know what I mean? I was voted from my brothers in brew all through the state because, just to be frank, I'm speaking the language. You know what I mean? I work at a
Yeah.
brewery. I understand what we need to do, and that's what's important to me is Georgia beer. You know what I mean? I want to grow Georgia beer. I want us as brewers, people that work in the industry, to be able to have the best opportunity to get beer. Like when I go to states that have self distro, to me, honestly, they have better variety. You know what I mean? They have better options. Any state that
Yeah,
I've gone to that has self distro on a whole scale, they just have much better beer because they can get much more of it out. You know, and there's distributors in those states. They seem to be thriving and making money. So I think the tide raises all ships, and giving that opportunity would help Georgia beer. So I'm a big proponent, and I'm gonna keep fighting for it as long as I'm here.
Keep on fighting, my brother. Keep on fighting. And now you spoke about Atlanta, real quick. I wanted to ask about the partnership that you have with them because I know when I was in Georgia for a quick little second, I remember when it was just try the beer, try the beer, leave a tip, do what you got to do, have fun, but try the So
yeah.
to see it go from that
Ooh, we
to
taking it
like,
back, boy. We gave a lot of free beer away, boy. We gave a lot of free beer away. Yeah, so I'm the operations manager at Atlanta. We my brother Skinny and Scales, we were part of a collective called Leaders of the Brew School. And in that collective is all, home brewers, black owned brewers, got a chef or two in there, influencers as well. Myself, my background is in consulting and business operations. But yeah, I've been with Atlanta since the beginning and we've all helped each other to grow, and it's been a great journey. We're hitting our 3-year anniversary this there. Actually, this Saturday we're going to have friends and family. So if you're in Georgia or in the surrounding area, come through Atlanta for our friends and family on Friday on Saturday. But it's been a great experience, So, but I will say, technically, I'm not a partner. I'm an employee of Atlanta. So you know what I mean. They do, but I do feel those are my partners and my brothers, and I feel very invested in what we're growing because, like I said, it's on a bigger scale. Skinny's on the NB2A board of directors, so we definitely all try to be involved on growing craft beer on a national level more so than just locally.
say less. I like the way that sound. I like the way that sound. Yeah, because it's at the second, first or second brick and mortar black owned brewery in Atlanta or in
We're the
Georgia.
second. We're the
Second.
second brick and mortar. Hip House was the first brick and mortar. We were the second. The first black owned brewery was down
Down
home,
home.
then Conzo, then Hip and Hops came in, and then we're here, and then Hip Hop Heads should be opening up soon.
Yeah.
You got that brick and mortar attached to the name.
Oh,
It's
that changes the game.
it's a little
That changes the game.
different. You can actually have people come into your venue and participate in whatever you got going on, whether it's drinking beers, whether it's interacting with each other, spending money, helping the community uplift. So
Yeah,
kudos
and just
for
to make
that.
it like just to clarify, Hip Hop Heads are going to be contract brewing. Um, I think contract brewing is smart for people that may have jobs and want to get in the space and can't dedicate 100% of their time to it. I always say this about my brothers in hip hop heads. They should actually, do an expose documentary, something to just how they've grown in the space. I feel they were very smart on how they did it. They're very strategic. They already have award-winning beer that they've got, so they're doing it a great way. I'm very excited for when they open, and I think that anybody in the surrounding area, please look out. If you don't follow them already on social media, go ahead and follow my brothers the hip hop heads. They make great beer and they do great business.
Make sure you're there for the cutting of the
Absolutely.
ribbon. Cutting of the ribbon. Uh, so we talked about beer. We talked about beer. I wanted to pivot a little bit, just a little bit. Uh, did y'all watch the Super Bowl?
Nope. I ain't watched it. I haven't watched an NFL game in 6 years. I'm really about this. If you a company, an entity, or organization that don't ain't down with my people, then I do not contribute my time or my finances to what you do.
I
Same with
watched that Super Bowl
you, Bird.
halftime show though.
Okay. What'd you think of it?
I loved it, but I'm black as hell, so that's I'm
So that's
I'm
that's more so
proudly
what I was
black.
leaning
So
towards.
to me, it was everything that I would want to see. I loved every minute of it. I felt it was unapologetically black. I felt like if it hit, nuances of things that people probably went over a lot of people's heads, some of our own people. Um, but hey, if you're looking for a party and fun and be entertained, you probably that wasn't it. But if you're looking for the bigger picture of us being in that space, and just like Kendrick said, you got the the right time, but the wrong person. You got the
Yeah,
right time, but the wrong person, bro. Because we giving it to you blackity black black. So I
yeah,
loved it. I can understand how, I mean, there's probably groups if it went, I probably like, I don't understand this and I don't get it. But for me, I loved it.
yeah. I saw clips, obviously on social media. You couldn't escape it. And I mean, Dot did his thing. I come from a little bit of a different perspective. Like I have been on dude like music since like '09 maybe.
Mhm.
So like there's a ton of people who are Kendrick fans who are aware of Kendrick because I put them on to Kendrick. Because one of my homies from Watts, shout out to G Malone, put me on his music. This is when he was still K Dot, before he even started going by Kendrick Lamar. So I remember being here in Atlanta, uh going to a show. He was J Rock hype man on a Tech Nine tour, and we were just walking down the street, and I was like, "Bro, you got it. Like, bro, you special. You definitely next." And the people we were with know me, and they were like, "He don't like nothing." So for him to tell you that, it is a big thing. And I've been a huge supporter of him ever since, for sure. So it's amazing to see somebody with substance be able to rock out on a stage that big, because normally I mean, honestly, we keeping it 100. uh, We haven't seen somebody in hip hop that actually speaks on real societal things get this type of shine since probably Public Enemy.
That's a good point. I agree
Not
with
that
that.
he is, as Public Enemy was
Oh
overt
yeah,
with theirs.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Kendrick's a little bit more nuanced, but like we ain't really seen that. Anybody you see get on that stage is it ain't they ain't really on that,
Mhm.
9 times out of 10.
Now, good point because I watched Super Bowl. Looking at it and just going throughout the day, but I was getting towards the Super Bowl, the halftime performance for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
It was very satire. It was satire AF. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure.
um, but yeah, good points, awesome points that he brought across. And if it went over your head, it went over your head. If it didn't, if you got it, you got it. I think it was cool. I think it was cool for the culture. Uh, Dope show, and it was creative. It was creative. I was not expecting that type of not to say I wasn't expecting it from him, but I didn't expect it to pan out the way it did.
Got you. Have you ever gone to any of his shows?
Nah, I'm not a concert person. Not even gonna lie
Mm,
to you. I'm not a big concert
Well,
person.
that's why, like, that's if you have been to his shows, then what you saw was not
mm,
abnormal. Like
mm.
he really, that's his thing. Like he puts on a show.
Yeah, they're orchestrated. There's definitely a lot of
Yeah,
artistic,
exactly.
artistic feel to it, and there's definitely the visuals in there. So, like, yeah, to Brandon's point, if you go into a Kendrick show, that was like you almost expect it to be something on that, like orchestrated like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And
no, for
while at it,
sure.
Pi, I didn't. I'll tell you a question. So Pi asked, "What's the biggest beer festival in Georgia?"
The biggest beer festival in Georgia, man. I'm gonna go ahead and just say the ones that I know is gonna be the Georgia Craft Brewers Guild Festival we're having in Woodstock. That's gonna be here in April. That's one of the biggest ones that I'm aware of. I know they have some festivals up in Athens. I mean, there's a lot of festivals that are here. So as far as like biggest, you know what I mean, that could vary. But I definitely think that those are some little beer fest is another one that happens. Strong beer fest is another one
Yeah.
that happens here. Um, they're not necessarily big, but they're absolutely worth your time. You know what I mean, to go to. So um, I can't really off the top say which one's the biggest, but I definitely those are a few just off the top that are definitely worth coming to check out.
Now, all right, that's the biggest. I'm asking which ones do Swerve and Brandon recommend going to?
To
Well,
be
I'm
honest
gonna
with you, bro,
yeah. Go
go
ahead, B.
ahead, bro.
Go ahead, B. Go ahead, B.
I'm
I got you after that.
not even really like a beer festival dude like that, to be honest with you, because I know what I like to drink, and I go to breweries or tap rooms, so it ain't too much stuff I'm gonna see, that I haven't had before like that. Like most of the beer festivals that I go to are beer festivals we're participating
Hmm.
in. But that's
For
just
sure.
me
No,
personally.
I mean, I support anything, Georgia beer, but the thing about festivals a lot of times it's just hard to keep. You're drinking so much beer. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so when I go to a festival, I'm going to kick it, honestly. You know what I mean? Like I'll have a couple things that'll stand out. But me personally, it's like going to like a food festival. Like it's hard to go and just taste everything and say,
yeah,
"Oh, what was your favorite chicken?" Like, man, I tasted 30 different types of chicken. Like I don't really
yeah.
remember, so I don't really feel like that's a like for me that. But I will say, I'm biased. The Georgia Craft Brewers Guild Festival we're having in Woodstock, I think that's going to be a great time. And the reason is that um, Crafted for Action is going to have a nice little after party for that right there at Reformation. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a really good time all day. I would strongly urge if you're driving more than 30 minutes, you might want to get yourself a little hotel or Airbnb situation
Or Uber.
or an Uber. Yeah, something like that. You definitely don't want to
You trying to
drive
stay the
it.
night? That
Yeah, but I'm
Uber's ain't
saying
that
like
bad. Gonna be a
that's gonna
hotel price.
be that's gonna be a great look. It's gonna be a great look for that festival. And when is that festival? It's April 19th. April 19th in Woodstock. It's gonna be right in front of Reformation, and then Crafted for Action is gonna have an after party. You know what I mean? I'm sure Drought Season will find some way to wiggle, what I mean, our name in there, you know what I mean, to be pronounced. But for the most part, I definitely think that's something you should have on your calendars. And if you haven't already got tickets for the Crafted for Action, I definitely strongly urge you to do that. We're doing it at Lee and White this year, partnering with Wild Heaven. It's going to be a great time. Um, we're going to have many more announcements that we're going to have with people we're partnering with for events, for people that are going to come through to speak. So I definitely say get on your tickets now because they're definitely going to go fast. So those are two things that I would say here in Georgia that are coming up between now and June that people definitely want to jump on.
Absolutely. And I guess I don't want to take up too much time. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my beer real quick. Shout out to Craft Beer Chris
Shout
and
out to
Pontoons making
Chris.
delicious beer. But y'all go ahead and the floor is y'all. Go ahead and shout yourselves out. Go ahead and tell everybody about upcoming drop season events, websites, all that kind of good stuff. All just let it fly.
Sure. We got a lot of stuff popping off, man, this year. But I would say first and foremost, make sure that you follow us, Drought Season, DRAUGHT season on all your social medias. Make sure you go to that website, grab your gear, Drought Season. It's the one thing, people, if you in the beer and you walk into somewhere with our stuff on, people gonna take you seriously. If you want to be the cool person at the brewery, go ahead and tap in and buy some stuff, man, and represent on a large scale. What we have coming up soon, the 21st of February, we will be at the Sacramento Kings Arena, getting interviewed, and we'll have a little booth set up and all of that stuff. They play the Warriors, so that's going to be a big game.
Mm,
February 23rd, we are the host of the Black Beer Garden at Black Joy Parade, which will feature Full Circle, Brewing with Brothers, Urban Roots, Oak Park, and Black Orchid, which is Black Orchid is the newest black-owned brewery in California, as well as ourselves, NB2A and Crafted for Action will be out there as well. And after that, man, you just gonna have to stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff coming up this year. It's gonna be crazy. If you were in Essence last year, you already know what it is. The Lynn Noir dinner experience we did with the Master Chef Reagan Sidney. We will be bringing that back as well. First week in July in New Orleans. So just stay tuned to that social media, man, and make sure y'all support Black business, support small business, all of that.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And like I said, I had to make it go full circle. Like I said, y'all was my first
Oh,
guest
we
when I first started
appreciate it,
That's
Happy
man.
Hour
Welcome
crazy.
back.
Wednesdays,
I appreciate that,
and I
brother.
had to take a little break from my social media uh, and just really enjoy living life in the moment. Uh,
Absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah.
but I'll be back.
That's dope.
So I feel like it was only right, take a little break,
No
make it go
doubt.
full circle. So I had to
No doubt.
reach out to y'all boys, and I really appreciate y'all taking the time out to
For
join us for
sure.
Happy
For
Hour
sure.
Wednesdays. And everyone, if y'all enjoyed the conversation, make sure y'all follow Pass My Cup on Instagram. We do this every Wednesdays. I got more awesome guests to be up in the building. So hit the notification button, all that kind of good jazz. Follow, and we rocking out. We rocking out all this year and everything to come.
For sure.
No
But it's
doubt.
like
For sure.
gotta be better. Gotta be better than you were yesterday. For
That's
sure.
it. That's it. Just a little bit better than
Absolutely.
you were the day
That's all
before.
you. That's the best way to live life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are we gonna finish up? Y'all boys,
Yes, sir.
wonderful talking. I'm
Cheers,
gonna
fellas.
keep in touch with y'all boys too more often. Even though I'm in Tallahassee, I'm in Florida. We gonna I'm gonna make my way to
No
Georgia
doubt.
real quick for sure.
I
Yeah,
mean, you
man.
you
Fuck
act
y'all
like
boys.
you in Madagascar or something, bro. You right around the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You need to go over and check out Joel, man. You need to go check out at
Yeah.
Woodfoot, man. You need to go check out our brother Joel Franklin, the Woodfoot, man, in the Panhandle. He's not far from you.
Yeah, Joe, I think 4.5 hours from me, like 4.5, 5 hours from me.
Oh, damn,
Damn,
it's
that's
that
that
far?
far?
You know,
Yeah, it's that far.
Florida
That's right.
big, man.
I know,
Florida
but
is
I
super
live there,
big,
man. It's
bro.
like you're like stuck
Yeah,
in it. Damn, I didn't know the
it's
Panhandle
that
could go
far.
that far. Jeez, look, from
'Cause when I
Tallahassee to Fort Walton Beach is 4 hours.
yeah,
That's
I did not know
crazy.
that.
Did
Yeah.
not know
because
Okay.
that.
when he first pulled up down here, I had him up and I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna pull up on you. And I was like, where you at? And I was like, yeah, you 4 hours away, so we gonna have to make
You
this
might as
up. We
well
gonna have to
be
make
in
this
Georgia, bro. You used to say
up.
it ain't no different than
Yeah.
when you was in Georgia.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm not a Madagascar, but I'm close. I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
Nah, you close, bro. You close. You
That's
close.
But
You
I'm gonna
crazy.
super
pull up on
close.
Joe for sure, for sure. They got something going on coming up, I believe. I think it's like the anniversary or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
No doubt.
definitely hit up
No, we gonna have that.
Joe.
We need to get down there and rock with y'all. Real talk.
Hey, hit
Yeah,
Yeah.
up
we
Joe.
definitely need to get out there and rock with him. So,
I mean, y'all can pull up in Tallahassee area. That's closer. But I mean, if y'all gonna make the trip, we gonna go see Joel.
All
I'll ride
right.
anything
with
over
y'all.
2 hours, anything over 2 hours, I'm on a plane, brother. So as
Yeah.
long as they got
Facts.
airports, we good, buddy.
Facts. Facts.
All
To
good.
be honest, you're gonna have to have a lot of good money because since it's so small, like the air,
Yeah.
the flight in and out of the airports is super expensive.
How far
There's got to be
Like
something
I
y'all
had a
from
different,
lucky
man.
visit in Atlanta.
how far y'all how far is Tallahassee from Tampa or Orlando?
Oh, hella far.
Yeah, hella far. It's like five,
Yeah,
like
I didn't
five
know.
hours too.
I don't know my Florida geography like that. So
No,
yeah, I
no.
guess
Florida,
driving is the way,
Tallahassee is the
huh?
biggest city to Fort Walton Beach. You know what I mean? Or maybe even
Mm,
Alabama. Like he might even be closer to something in Alabama.
Yeah,
But either
or
way,
like
got
you may
you.
yeah.
have to like fly in Mississippi or something like that, or
Yeah,
depending
My
on how
something like
far he is
that.
from
God,
like Louisiana or I'm sorry, from New Orleans.
that's
Well, yeah, from
so
Louisiana. But yeah,
crazy. Okay, y'all
even
putting me up on game.
even like PC Panama City, flying to that airport is expensive as fuck.
Yeah,
So
yeah, Panama City is
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. Nah, I've been there before
yeah, so
for sure.
good luck finding flights. Now you
Shit,
can
I'm over here
find them,
looking right now. Pensacola. That's the closest you got is Pensacola.
and
Okay.
how much is the
Well,
flying
you
happening?
know
That's the biggest city I'm saying. Like I don't even know there's an airport in Pensacola. No,
it
is there?
is. That's where
Yeah.
KB from.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
For sure.
We'll
All right,
figure something
fellas.
out.
Yeah, I
Absolutely,
figured
man.
something out.
Appreciate it. No doubt.
And like I
All
said, I
right, my
appreciate y'all
brother.
for taking the time out. And
For
you know,
sure.
we gonna rock out with it.
For sure,
Bet.
my brother.
Absolutely. All
Love.
right.
All
Peace.
right, peace.